Hey folks, my name is Pravus, and welcome to a new series of guides for After Inc. Revival, which just released on Steam as of today. For those who don't know, in some ways this game is a sequel to Plague Inc. The world has succumbed to the Necroa virus, and we are leading a band of survivors in the aftermath. However, this game plays very differently from Plague Inc. and Rebel Inc. So before we get started, please be patient because I need to give you a brief introduction to what this series is and is not. You see, with both Plague Inc. and Rebel Inc., the objective is the same no matter what map or scenario or leader you choose. You always want to either kill the world or stabilize a region for each game respectively. But in After Inc., every map is going to be different because you'll have different objectives. That means that there isn't one uniform build order that works for most situations. You will always be tailoring your strategy to what you see on this particular level. This series exists to help you navigate those levels on Mega Brutal difficulty as efficiently and consistently as possible. I will not, however, be trying to get every level with every different leader to show you how those strategies change. That's just going to have to be something we play with as we go. I should also note that this series will only be focusing on Mega Brutal difficulty, and the reason I have to specify that is because this is the first endemic game where Mega Brutal is not the highest difficulty. There are actually 5 levels of Mega Brutal difficulty, and the main difference is the zombies that you will encounter get much more dangerous the higher up that ladder you go. For the most part, that doesn't change the overall strategy, it just requires a lot more luck and a lot better micromanagement of your fighters on your part. I'm going to focus just on regular Mega Brutal difficulty because I think that's the most accessible for the average viewer who wants to get good at this game, and then the rest is just a matter of practice and optimization. Hopefully that makes sense. At this point, I've been talking for 2 minutes without showing gameplay, and I know for your short attention spans, that's not a great thing. So let's go ahead and jump into the game. Fortunately, this first map is really quick. This is called A New Dawn. Survivors of the apocalypse blast open the steel door of their failing bunker and emerge blinking into the sunlight with their families to face an unknown world. Now, when you get started, you will be presented with 3 leader choices. It does seem to be consistent for every level which 3 you will be offered. It is worth noting there are actually 10 leaders in the game, and you can pick from any of them if you want to. However, the 3 presented will give you a bonus +4 stamina at the start of a level, and that's very important on Mega Brutal difficulty, so if you can, I'd say stick with this. If you don't like the 2 specialized options, you can always go with the vanilla Survivor. You really can't go too wrong there because there's nothing special about it. It's fine. I'm going to play with the Economist, and most of the time I'd actually say the Economist is pretty darn good, and does work exactly the same as Rebel Inc., but I'll explain more about that in a bit. You also get to choose a population trait. You can have extra starting resources, or less resources and then +3 stamina, or a scavenger discount. I usually prefer going for the stamina because it is usually as good or better than resourceful, so you might as well. As far as difficulty, we'll bump this up to Mega Brutal, and as I said, you can bring it all the way up to Mega Brutal 5. But I'm not worried about that. Let's go ahead and play here in Pubton. Now, if you missed my video that I released back in December introducing people to this game when it came out on mobile, I'll try to give you a very brief synopsis of what we're looking at. That's kind of the purpose of this first mission anyway. That way we can go faster in future videos. So in this game, you're going to have one region where you can settle down a little town, which we'll do now. From here, if this city ever falls to a zombie attack, we are going to lose the game. If we ever run out of a resource here called Authority, we will lose the game. And it basically works exactly the same as Reputation from Rebel Inc. The way you lose Authority is through events, or by making your people very unhappy, or by not moving fast enough to complete the objectives in the game. So if you sit around and dawdle, eventually you're going to lose. Now, looking at the map around us, you can see everything is covered in a fog of war. The maps are consistent at the beginning of every individual mission. That is to say, they're not randomly generated. So what I'm going to do at the beginning of every one of these videos is showing you what the fully explored map is going to look like with a quick screenshot like this one here. The reason being, at least on Mega Brutal difficulty, your order of expansion can be very important, so knowing what the objectives are and knowing what the map looks like is actually kind of key to survival on Mega Brutal. In fact, most of the time, I'd say you should practice on a lower difficulty and then graduate up to Mega Brutal in this game. or you can just watch my guides and just jump straight forward. Now, we also have a resource to worry about here called stamina. Stamina is used for just about everything, including the first actions I'm going to take, which is to explore these 2 regions right along over here. So let's go ahead and do that, spend 2. That's going to complete my first objective. You're going to gain stamina passively over time. The Economist front loads all of our stamina, and we get them in big bursts. Everyone else gets smaller amounts very, very quickly. The last resource to worry about here is going to be morale, but we'll come back to that in just a second. Let's go through some opening moves. Typically speaking, the best moves I think you can do are to secure some early resources. So you will be able to produce food, water, wood, and fuel, and eventually more resources over time, but right now we can't produce almost anything until I expand. So what we'll do is we'll build a well, which is going to increase my water production by 2, which will at least match up with my consumption. And then we're going to scavenge twice for some wood, and we're going to scavenge twice for some food. That's going to give me some pop-ups that I can click, just like in Plague Inc. or Rebel Inc., in order to get some resources. We're also going to go to the overview. Now here we can see we have population. Right now I only have 1. Population is important because the more you have, the more stamina you are going to gain. However, of course, more people means more mouths to feed, and so on, so be aware of that. I will build up some tents, and over time, I'll get more population. Ultimately, I want to get myself up to 3 pops, so I'll go ahead and do this twice. There is technology in the game as well, but we'll come back to that in a little bit. The last thing to worry about is services, and this is tied directly to your morale system. Right now, people are sad because we're not providing any services. We will fix that by building them a quick toilet once I produce some more wood, and we'll eventually come back to things like a makeshift fire pit. This sometimes only costs you a few initial resources to set up some infrastructure, or with things like the fire pit, it will increase things like your fuel consumption, so be aware that what you pick up may come with some extra resource requirements. You'll see how that works in a bit. Now we can go ahead and actually move forward with the game, so you can see we are exploring this region and trying to clear out some of the fog of war. This is going to show me a forested area, which I will spend stamina in order to claim. Now if I go to resources, I would be able to build, let's say, a lumber yard, which I'll go ahead and do, and that would get me some wood production. We'd also be able to get a firewood splitter, which I don't really need in this particular map, but you get the idea. If we can find some open fields, which we will find down over here, we'll also be able to start producing some food if I were to claim this region. That said, I'm not really worried about claiming this region right now, so we'll come back to that. Let's instead go ahead and explore over here, and there is a reason I'm doing things in the order I am right now, just FYI, so pay attention to this. By exploring 2 areas, we have now finished an objective. If we click on this here, we'll see our next one is to produce 3 food, which we're kind of already doing right now simply by scavenging. So in fact, I actually just got 4 food, which means we're immediately going to complete the next mission. What I'm going to do now is go back to resources, and we're going to get ourselves another well because I'm going to expand my population soon, and right now we aren't producing quite enough to break even, so that'll be fine. I will also start working on some technology. It's time. Now this costs me a bit of food and a bit of lumber to do, but it does improve my authority and unlocks a lot of new services and other things that we can use. Most importantly though, what technology does is it lets you build more resources in the same tiles. So if I only have 1 lumber yard, I'll be able to build a second one in the same forest that I already control. That can be very important. Also, when zombies are on the map, if you have fighters, technology improves their effectiveness. This can be very, very important, but it's going to work into every build order, and if you follow along, you will understand. Now we have to claim 2 wooded areas. This is why I started exploring over here, because I know there's another wooded area, because I already know the map. So we're going to go ahead and claim this, and boom, we've now got this. We immediately complete this objective. Cool. Now we have to have population level 2. This is why I started building some tents very early on. Let's go ahead and go to our services, by the way, and build a makeshift fire pit now. I want to get my morale high, start boosting that where I can. It will not take much longer before we are going to have our second pop. There it is. Click on this, and we're going to see that our consumption has gone up for a few things, including for water, but at least we should be able to produce a decent amount. With 2 pops, we complete our next objective. Do you see how quickly we're moving through this? This will not last forever. The first couple maps are really, really fast. Eventually, things slow down and get a lot harder. Anyway, I'm going to start saving up a bit of stamina here because we're about to finish up with tech level 2. So now that this is done, we're going to have some new options, including things like makeshift kitchens, better housing, small town squares, and so on. Your people's demands are going to go up the more technology you have. So be aware that whenever you finish tech, you really want to have some stamina on hand because otherwise, they're going to get very unhappy very quickly. Morale can fluctuate rapidly in this game on Mega Brutal, so be aware that that can come back to bite you. Now, I'm not going to build another well over here. Instead, I'm going to go ahead and scavenge some water for only 1 stamina since it is cheaper and I'm not going to need much more production than what I've got right now for reasons you'll see in this map in a little bit. But I will spend what stamina I have left to go ahead and get myself the town square like so, and also a level of improved housing. We don't have enough wood right now, but that will fix over time. All right, so let's go ahead and start moving forward. We finished with Tech 2. That's going to open up here. We've also built the makeshift kitchen because I was already on top of it, which means we finished with that as well. Now we're waiting for population 3, but I already built another tent, so we're literally just waiting for some people to generate. Now, every once in a while, something I want to point out, you'll see down over here, there's kind of this very high opacity little exclamation point as you explore some regions. If you see them, always click on them, because sometimes you're going to get some sort of an event that, in this case, gave me some extra stamina. Sometimes you get some extra authority, or it explores all adjacent regions. You never know what it's going to be, but always pick those up. And now I'm just going to sit back and kind of wait for a second. Wait for this population to generate. What we could do is try to get some extra resources. I could preemptively start scavenging for some more food. I could get myself another lumberyard, which I'll do. It doesn't really matter at this point. Like, we already are pretty much set and ready to go. I'll go ahead and scavenge some fuel, for example. Yeah, why not? I mean, we have a fire pit. It's technically getting consumed. We might as well. I'm not worried about exploring anything else, though, because I don't need to on this level. All I'm doing is waiting around for this to finish. I'll scavenge a little bit more food here, and I'll go ahead, you know what, fine, I'll just go ahead and build another well. I don't actually need it, but we're just waiting right now. The timing of this did not work out perfectly because of when I started building my improved housing. But that objective is now going to be complete, like so. Click this, and now we need to just simply maintain 80% morale for a little while. It's currently at 112 and dropping fast. Let's go ahead and spend some points getting some upgrades to things like my kitchens, my toilets, and so on. We're going to try to keep this high, and then in the last second, what you can do is just go ahead and throw a party, have a festival. This will boost up your authority, your morale, but of course all of your resource consumption goes up. If at any point you run out of resources people need, like water, food, or so on, they're going to be very, very unhappy. So don't do a festival unless you know you're about to end the scenario and you have enough resources to spare. In my case, I'm just going to keep myself nice and high, right above 80%. Even if I run out of resources right now, we're going to be completely fine. And then that will be my last objective, and we officially finish the scenario. Done. Easy. Not too bad. 5 stars here, took 149 days, we got a total score of 770, and that's not even my best there, because again, I slightly had messed up the timing of getting improved housing. I should have waited until we had population level 3. But that's it. That's how you're going to be beating some of these on Mega Brutal, and this is more or less going to be the theme of every one of these videos, but some are going to be a lot longer than others. Once you get to about mission 4 or 5, that's when you're going to run into a wall. Once winter and zombies both get introduced into the map, you are going to struggle a bit. Before we continue, the last thing I want to point out is something up here called the survival rewards. As you finish up with some of these maps, you're going to gain some points you can spend in order to get some sort of benefits. In my case, on this account, I have one last one to get. But if I take a look at things like chosen rewards, we can see we got things like pigeon coops, which means that at tech level 1, I'll be able to get a little bit of extra food for every person we have. It's not a lot, but it's something. Forestry huts at level 2 increase the effectiveness of lumberyards. These are all going to kick in automatically, and it means that you really do want to play through the entire game at a lower difficulty before you start playing on Mega Brutal, so that all of these can give you a leg up as you continue to play. And that's it, folks. That's all I've got for this first video. This was a primer to everything that is about to come. Thank you for your patience as I gave you a good introduction. But if you follow this strategy, this mission really can be done in like 3 or 4 minutes. Like it's that easy. Be sure to stick around as we go through every one of the maps in the game and make sure we can beat this on Mega Brutal. Please consider hitting that like button if you did enjoy this video and you're looking forward to the rest. Leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.